Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Biggs. I am the APAC leader for artificial intelligence at NetApp, and I'm here today to talk to you, our wonderful partner ecosystem, about our portfolio of AI solutions in conjunction with our strategic alliance partner, NVIDIA. So all of you hopefully are familiar with NetApp, but I'll just give you a brief primer. So we're a cloud-led data-centric software company from before the dot-com era, founded in 1992. We have over 38,000 customers over the world, and we've been consistently delivering the most innovative data-centric software and hardware solutions for the enterprise software market. And we have over 90 offices in 30 countries with a significant presence here in Asia Pacific. Specifically for AI, we've been really leaning into the AI generation that we're entering into, providing both a suite of on-premise and cloud-led services, solutions, and hardware for the burgeoning AI generation. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what that portfolio of AI solutions looks like, how it fits in with our overall data fabric narrative, and what are some of the key differentiators and key selling points that you as partners should be bearing in mind when looking to accelerate your customers' AI transformation and digital transformation initiatives. So really, we help our customers build their data fabric to accelerate their digital transformation. And that means ensuring that we're giving them the right data in the right place to be able to serve all of the different varieties of workloads and initiatives that they're working on. And for AI, this is particularly important because AI workloads do stretch from core to edge to cloud, and therefore have many different complexities and many different needs depending on the unique components of that particular AI initiative. And typically they're very different than traditional software architectures where test and develop usually was a very small part and production was always the bigger part of the infrastructure and the stack that needed to be addressed. For AI, it changes. And so really here, what we use our core OnTap architecture as the core driving component that addresses all of the other pieces behind it. And for us, really, that means ensuring we're providing absolute best-in-class performance, the next generation integrations with Kubernetes, and all of the native cloud storage services that you'll come to know and love from your core NetApp offerings, as well as, of course, all of the other rich feature sets that we offer through OnTap for the enterprise data center, and typically really making sure that we're enabling the flow of that data from the cloud to the core, to the edge, back and forth is super, super important, and something that we've spent a lot of time developing capabilities to support, and then become particularly useful when developing next generation AI solutions. And so really for us, we're looking at, of course, making sure that we support, the performance aspect of GPU accelerated computing. Those GPUs need to be fed with very, very large amounts of data very consistently. We need to ensure that that data is being protected correctly from a security standpoint, and especially with multiple different data science teams, research teams, all accessing different versions and different silos of data for a variety of different model development and training initiatives. We need to really ensure that governance and risk is really being put at a very, very high focus point for your data management solution. And of course, we need to ensure that those data scientists are being supported in their activities and not having to do IT work. And as such, they don't need to be trained as storage admins because they can use the inherent solutions and features available within OnTap to do things like sophisticated data replication efforts. So for us then, really where it comes down to is this strategic alliance with NVIDIA. We are an NVIDIA elite partner now, and that means that for us, we have invested considerable resources, and likewise on the NVIDIA side, to ensure that we are one of the preferred storage vendors for NVIDIA's compute and AI solutions. And so what I would really look to qualify here is the fact that this depth of relationship comes from both at a very strategic level, executive sponsorship. For example, this quote by Jensen Huang from a call with him and George Kurian, our CEO, If data is the fuel of AI, then NetApp is the fuel of NVIDIA, but then also down to a very tactical level where we actually have developed very specific solutions to address, unique customer problems present in the AI marketplace. So, as I mentioned, we really are taking a portfolio approach. Our solutions cover every stage of the AI journey, and really whether that's at the edge where we have software-defined storage, such as our OnTap Select solution, or our inference solutions with Lenovo that we have developed very recently. And obviously in the core, we have our OnTap AI offering, which is really the most powerful on-demand solution that you can get from NetApp, which is certified from NVIDIA as an official DGX pod. And this architecture really gives you best-in-class performance, best-in-class capabilities to be able to address really the highest workloads that are being needed from an AI perspective. And then on top of that, we also have now offered in our E-series offering as well, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. And of course, all of the integrations with the traditional NetApp stack from Kubernetes, Ansible, Trident, and Apache Spark through to all of our cloud native offerings such as CVO, CVS, Azure NetApp Files, etc. So really providing that breadth of portfolio ensures that we are that authority from a hybrid cloud world, and that no matter where your AI workload is taking place, whether it's taking place with compute in the cloud, storage on the edge, compute on-prem, storage in the cloud, whatever that mix may be, and whatever breadth and variety of workloads you're looking to address, we have that capability to support that and then hopefully accelerate that to be more purpose-led and ensure that you, the customer, are investing time in trying to drive business value rather than managing IT complexity. So for our partners, we have this solution diagram here, which really gives you a view of how to address the variety of customer needs that exist out there from an AI perspective. And so really, there are a few major call outs here that I would want to flag. The first is to really understand what the customer need is. And so understanding, is the customer looking at specific model training exercises, such as trying to develop through the usage of deep learning, their own natural language solutions? Are they focusing on imaging in a medical context? Are they looking at fraud detection in a banking context, smart manufacturing, autonomous vehicles? What type of use case are they going after, and what kind of model development process are they undergoing? And that really puts you in that model training bucket. Or are they focused on the HPC or advanced analytics side, where they're doing, simulations and large GPU accelerated big data applications, genomics, oil and gas, molecular chemistry, these very large single workloads that need to be spread across these kind of blended HPC AI environments? Or are they looking at, data lake type use cases where we're having, large silos of structured and unstructured data being used either for archival, for advanced analytics purposes? And of course, from an inference standpoint, when they're looking to actually deploy those trained models that have been developed, are they deploying those inference models at the edge? Can they service that using cloud? Or are they also, looking at real-time inferencing that may require core capabilities as well? And so what we really look to try and understand for our customers is at what stage is a customer at, and what particular use case or application of that broad breadth of the AI space are they actually looking to invest in, and where do they need specific support to drive forward those interactions with dedicated hardware and specialized solutions. And so then that brings us into our solutions layer. And our solutions layer, this portfolio, is really purpose-built for each particular type of not just use case, but application of that use case. So for example, our DGX pods, as we mentioned, they use best-in-class NVMe all-flash arrays to give absolute highest performance in terms of throughput, talking about 200 gigabytes a second of data being streamed into the GPUs. And so that really ensures that if you're looking at very high utilization rates for large levels of infrastructure, then we can ensure that we can provide that type of utilization using our cutting edge hardware, our cutting edge software. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the software layers that we've also built into that to increase capability, and then make the job of the AI practitioners easier, and ensure that we bring time to value closer to the customer and maximize that TCO. Of course, on the core side, as I mentioned as well, we do have our new EF series, which is based on our E series memory system. This is oftentimes used for your HPC type applications. And we also have a partnership with BGFS to be able to provide that parallel file system for the E series and really support some of those very, very specialist HPC types of workloads. Of course, we have our partnerships with our OEM partners, Cisco, Lenovo, Fujitsu, for whom we have developed very dedicated suites of compute storage solutions within their individual portfolios. And what is probably one of the newest and fastest growing areas of our AI portfolio are our AI as a service offerings, where we actually have managed services available, giving compute, storage, and networking infrastructure in a third-party colo location, for example, with Equinix, supported by our software partners, Core Scientific, or alternatively, we've just announced the launch of NVIDIA Base Command, which is a platform infrastructure as a service model directly from NVIDIA, where you can access NVIDIA compute, NetApp storage on a consumption basis. And we just launched that in North America this month. On the cloud side, cloud is obviously a huge growth area for AI. And so whilst you may not necessarily have the full breadth of latest features and latest tooling available from NVIDIA when you're accessing GPU through the cloud, you can, however, still come up with very, very strong and very powerful sets of solutions with both compute and storage in the cloud, and a blend of compute and storage between cloud and on-premise as well. And so therefore our CVS services through AWS and GCP, Azure NetApp Files, we see these being used very commonly for large GPU accelerated analytics workloads, and lots of, for example, R lab type work where you're looking at these kind of complex GPU accelerated initiatives that require large access to large levels of different tiers of data to be able to do historical analysis. And so this is something, again, we see a lot of growth in this area, and we're actively supporting the development of specific solutions for AI in the cloud. And then as we mentioned on an inferencing standpoint, we have obviously this recently announced Lenovo solution specifically for edge inferencing, very cost effective, smaller GPU cards that can be deployed, for example, in a smart manufacturing environment on the shop floor for detection, fault detection, visual inspection, or in a smart cities environment for video analysis, or retail, for example, in a cashless payment type of scenario. These edge inferencing and compute solutions are becoming more and more desirable as those use cases become more robust. And again, that's why we look to provide a wide portfolio of solutions to service all of those different needs. So when we talk to customers about the challenges of AI today, I think these are really some of the top challenges that customers who are investigating AI, who are already perhaps AI practitioners themselves, that they are facing. And so you as partners, when you're thinking about how do I come in and add value as a partner to a customer's AI journey, I would really challenge you to think around these four key components. Because really with AI, it's such a complex chain of different activities from both a hardware, software, business application standpoint, that all of these components need to be working well in sync. And oftentimes it's very difficult for a customer on their own to manage all those disparate components. And as such, this is where you as partners can really add value. So the first major area to think about is an expertise. From an expertise standpoint, really what we're looking at is maximizing the efficiency of those researchers, data scientists, machine learning engineers, data practitioners that have been brought on board to a company to drive the AI initiatives. Those researchers are oftentimes very scarce in terms of their availability. They're very expensive in terms of their resource costs. And they're very hard to hold on to because everyone's trying to get access to these resources. So you need to really provide them not only with the right tools at the right time to be able to do their jobs effectively, but you also need to be able to really retain them by giving them strong routes to output and high levels of productivity. And so, as I mentioned before, you don't want to be training your data scientists to be storage admins. They need to be developing their data science skills, their AI proficiencies. And so how do you work with a company like NetApp, a company like NVIDIA, to reduce some of that IT work, let them focus on what they're good at? From an efficiency standpoint as well, this is both in terms of utilization of the hardware and then the day-to-day that they're working on. And again, these types of integrated solutions that we've been discussing are ideal for that. From a data standpoint, this is really everything that we've mentioned before, right? Having the right type of model management pipeline in place so that we can bring in data from the edge into the core for training, put it up into the cloud for storage, bring it back down out of cold tiering when we need it to retrain, to, for example, have a gold standard copy of a single data set that multiple teams are working on. How do we then ensure that that gold standard is being measured and is immutable and can be referred and copied to easily and rapidly? These are all aspects of that sort of data pipeline management, which are incredibly important and very difficult to get right, because oftentimes with IT, legacy IT, and modern AI software, you have a hodgepodge of different tools, different frameworks, different open source components, all being pulled together. And so again, coming to a group like NetApp and NVIDIA and our partner ecosystem to provide an integrated solution with a full end-to-end pipeline, pre-prepared, pre-built, ready to go, is a really, really good way to ensure that you're getting rapid time to value and getting less stuck in the weeds of managing some of these IT data management processes. From a technology standpoint, of course, we spoke about utilization. These hardware assets oftentimes very expensive, so you need to ensure maximum utilization at all times in order to really reduce that TCO. And ensure that you're getting really rapid access to value, whilst also having availability to, burst to the cloud, to improve performance, etc. And so that's where our data fabric and our integrated offerings really come into play. And of course, from an infrastructure standpoint, these are very different beasts than your traditional IT infrastructure. And as such, you need to be working with the right distributors, the right partners, the right type of ecosystem to be able to service a customer with a built for purpose solution that works as soon as it's rolled in and delivers maximum efficiency in terms of performance. So what we therefore want to try and tackle are a couple of major challenges. How do we increase productivity? How do we reduce risk with the deployment of infrastructure, with the management of data? How do we deploy standardized AI solutions? And how do we really ensure that business leaders can see that return on investment even faster, more quickly? And so what NetApp has done is we've worked on a couple of key offerings. The first is our Data Science Toolkit. Data Science Toolkit, as I mentioned, is a series of Python libraries that data science users can use directly within their, for example, Jupyter Notebook type workspaces that they're very custom, very familiar to using without having to go and work within the OnTap command plane or anything like that. They can do everything right there using those Python scripts. And they can deploy various different features that are already baked into our NetApp OnTap data fabric solutions, such as cloning, copying, snapshots, etc. These types of very storage-related features that are incredibly useful, incredibly powerful to data scientists, but which typically they may not either be trained in or be aware of or be capable to access. And so really bringing the capabilities of that that data management side of things that NetApp has 25 plus years of expertise in into the modern world and operating environments of the data scientists is incredibly important and really helps to drive maximum efficiencies in terms of their day-to-day operating models. Similarly, with the AI control plane, this is really a workload management solution that is baked into Kubernetes and Kubeflow. So here we are looking at ensuring that we have full integration with specific data science platforms, or that we have full integration with a variety of different Kubernetes-based solutions, such as Trident and Astra, which are our own cloud-based Kubernetes systems, and really ensuring that we're delivering that real optimized end-to-end workload management solution for customers, and particularly where a customer is looking for something that's maybe a little bit more proprietary, that's been developed to really custom fit their particular operating model. The NetApp AI control plane can be an incredibly useful solution for them to just pull down from GitHub and begin implementing to be able to come up with a really strong end-to-end system. Finally, the last piece that I mentioned previously is really ensuring that a customer comes to a partner ecosystem and procures that best-in-class solution. So currently, we're working with our distributors and partner ecosystem around the world to develop what we're calling our bundled solutions. So that's networking, compute, and storage, plus services, all wrapped up in a particular bundle. That's been launched in North America with Arrow just a couple of months ago. Currently in the process of exploring similar process through distribution partners, both in EMEA and in APAC, and they'll be coming later this year. So essentially providing that pre-configured one SKU bundle of all those different components together, which again minimizes risk, ensures that the tight reference architectures are being deployed and being followed, and ensuring that you, the partner, are able to really deliver maximum value, maximum efficiency, add on your managed services to give the customer the quickest time to value. So last couple of slides to wrap up from today. Here are some of the main reasons how or why we win versus the competition. Obviously, we have our integrated solutions with NVIDIA, which are exclusively very well developed, very well thought out, both from an architectural standpoint and from a delivery standpoint. We have our specific solutions such as the data science toolkit, the AI control plane, really unique software layers that sit on top of our core hardware and data fabric offerings. We obviously have our data fabric offering in itself, which means really providing the ability to support workloads at the edge, at the core, and at the cloud, and everywhere in between. And of course, we have our native integrations with all the hyperscalers, again, giving us really unique capability to service those AI initiatives, no matter where they're currently sitting and where they're looking to go. And finally, of course, we have, really a strong, sort of legacy in the storage world, which means we can support, of course, all those different varieties of applications that the customers may be coming across, whether that's using our OnTap AI AFF system for deep learning training, our E-Series BGFS solutions for HPC AI, our Lenovo Edge solutions for inferencing. We're really able to cover that breadth and variety of different solutions that customers may be looking for. And so finally, I'll leave you with two quotes. I won't read them out to you, but I would suggest that you take a moment to read these and really try and digest what the implications are for what customers are looking for. And so from my perspective, when I read this first quote from Matt Hull, who's the Vice President for Global AI Data Center Solutions at NVIDIA, what he's trying to indicate is that the paths to success for customers are many, right? They may be looking at, multiple different types or different variants of AI infrastructure to support those different initiatives, because AI is incredibly important to companies looking to stay ahead of the game. And so therefore, as vendors, as compute, networking, and storage providers, we need to give our customers many different ways to achieve that success. But that success is actually dependent on those offerings coming together, the joint packaging of those solutions to then ensure that, a customer isn't trying to, buy some GPUs from here, buy some storage from here, and then trying to find some specialist talent to put it all together and wrap it in an architecture, bring in a managed service to support it, etc., which can be very complicated, very expensive, and ultimately maybe not even work correctly. So really, what we want to try and do is provide them that real best-in-class blend of all of those different components with proven case studies, proven support levels, and a partner ecosystem that can really help us to deliver and support that. And similarly, from Ritu Jyoti from IDC, they're talking about this, managing these integration challenges and simplifying consumption models. So again, it's a similar sort of tone here, right? We're talking about the complexities of bringing in a lot of the infrastructure and a lot of the hardware and a lot of the capabilities needed to run AI initiatives means that you end up facing large challenges with TCO, large challenges with time to value, oftentimes big challenges with managing legacy technical debt, integration issues. And so by partnering with NetApp, with NVIDIA, with our partner ecosystem, we can really help customers to simplify that entire journey and accelerate that time to insight and to value from AI. So with that, I would encourage you to check out our AI certifications in the NetApp Partner Program for the new FY, something that we're going to be investing a lot of time in. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out to me, email or LinkedIn. And thank you so much for attending today. Much appreciated, and hope to connect with you all soon. Many thanks. Bye-bye.